This is News 25 with Unette Gentry. Local news with Deanna O'Donnell. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson. News 25 is also brought to you by Silver State Health, Pahrumph's exclusive pediatric care clinic. Call 775-505-1214 for an appointment.
Welcome to News 25. I'm Unette Gentry. Deanna and Missy are off today, Monday, April 26th. Well, the fate of this year's Pahrump Balloon Fest is in the hands of Nye County Commissioners as they're meeting Tuesday morning at 9 to discuss whether to rescind the outdoor festival license issued to the Pahrump Valley Chamber of Commerce. The Balloon Fest was approved for Ian Dutch Memorial Park this year, but that booted the Pahrump Valley Little League from the park's ball field, which caused a stir in the community. Local balloon operator Doug Campbell is hopeful that the two sides can find common ground and that both the Pahrump Balloon Fest and Little League games can go on as scheduled.
I'll relay the information I know. The reason it was moved over here is because of the fencing, and they can control egress and egress. With the COVID regulations that the state has in place, they have to be able to limit the number of people that come in and let more in after certain numbers leave, and that would require a completely fenced environment. P-Track Park does not offer that, and I guess they were unable to find a way to put a temporary fence up around that to do that. So that's why they chose to move it here. I want to make sure that the people of Pahrump know that the balloon ride operators have nothing to do with the balloon festival itself. It is strictly a community event that the chamber has been putting on for several years. It just happens to include balloons. And when the ride operators do their functions, no way does it impact the Little League fields or the other businesses. We just hope that the Chamber of Commerce and the commissioners in Little League could all work something out. And as a third-party participant, I'm going to try to do what I can do to help rectify or smooth that out to where it's viable for everybody. I see a happy ending coming as long as everybody kind of cooperates. One kind of a system that I did when I raised my kids is if you have two issues and one's here, and you need to be here, if one tree has to bend all the way in, it's going to break. But if you could get both trees to lean in just a little bit and meet in the middle, there's usually a very workable system, way to work things out. And that's what I hope happens here. I hope nobody's going to be, set in stone enough to where they can't adjust a little bit. Because the last thing I want to do is be even remotely associated with anything that's going to take anything away from the kids. I'm going to suggest a couple things. Actually, I'm going to talk to the chamber first and see how they feel about this little guy opening his mouth at the meeting on Tuesday. But I think I've got a way that's going to make everybody happy and that we can all walk away with smiles on our face.
There you go, bridge that gap.
Yep.
Again, Nye County Commissioners will consider returning Ian Deutsch Memorial Park back to the Pahrump Valley Little League at a special meeting tomorrow morning. Notably, the Pahrump Valley Chamber of Commerce has not responded to News 25's requests for an interview regarding the Balloon Fest controversy. They have, however, posted a statement on their Facebook page calling for their members to attend tomorrow's meeting to show support for the chamber and this year's Balloon Fest. In other local news, a pedestrian is struck and critically injured here in Pahrump, and the Nye County Sheriff's Office is investigating.
The accident happened late Friday night on Greta Boulevard near Christopher Avenue. That's just a block from Blosser Park. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies and Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue responded to the scene. According to deputies investigating the incident, the man was allegedly laying in the roadway in the dark when an approaching vehicle ran over him. The woman driving that vehicle stopped and called for help. The victim suffered serious injuries and was airlifted via Mercy Air to UMC Trauma Center in Las Vegas. We have not received an update on his condition. The woman driver was not hurt. If you have any information that could help in the investigation of this accident, please contact the Nye County Sheriff's Office.
And the Nye County Sheriff's Office is mourning the death of former deputy and candidate for sheriff Thomas O'Donnell, who died over the weekend.
The Sheriff's Office announced the death of retired Deputy Thomas O'Donnell on its Facebook page Saturday evening. O'Donnell served with the Nye County Sheriff's Office from September 1994 until February 2016 when he retired. O'Donnell is seen here speaking with News 25 in 2014 when he ran for Nye County Sheriff. Today is also the 11th anniversary of the death of Deputy Ian Deutsch. Deutsch was shot and killed while responding to a shooting outside Terrible's Lakeside Casino and RV Resort in Pahrump on this date in 2010. A suspect wanted for shooting at a woman with a rifle opened fire on Deutsch and his partner as they exited their patrol vehicle. Deutsch was struck 3 times with the rounds penetrating his vest. A third deputy shot and killed the suspect. On April 5th, 1905, Nye County Deputy Harry Mannon died as a result of gunshot wounds he'd received 2 weeks earlier when a group of robbery suspects opened fire on him and another deputy as they tried to arrest them. Deputy Mannon had served with the Sheriff's Office for just 1 month. And on April 7th, 1906, Nye County Sheriff Thomas Logan was shot and killed while coming to the aid of a saloon matron in Manhattan, Nevada. Logan was trying to eject a drunk gambler when the suspect shot him 5 times. Logan was serving his 3rd term as sheriff and had served with the agency for 8 years.
And the Nye County Sheriff's Office is also busy searching for a vandal suspect. Those details when News 25 returns.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on. This segment of the news is brought to you by Pahrump Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 10054, open to our veterans and our community. Stop by or give them a call.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, it's definitely a seller's market as new home sales soar 20% nationwide. And Honeywell says its financial future is sweet amid high demand for warehouse automation equipment. Those details in today's financial news.
Topping our news, a boom in the housing market. Sales of new homes surged 20.7% in March. That is the highest level since 2006. Sales were strong in every part of the U.S., with the exception of the West, where sales of new homes slipped 30%. Analysts say the housing market should have a good year in 2021. Big Dow industrial component Honeywell is raising its financial forecast for the year to $34.8 billion. Honeywell also posted a profit that was larger than predicted because of high demand for warehouse automation equipment. One of its customers is warehouse king Amazon, and the online buying binge at Amazon has been huge during the pandemic. However, Honeywell's aircraft business is hurting, including its parts that it makes for Boeing.
To find out where you can see us every day, go to businessfirstam.com.
Thanks, Angela. Turning back now to local news, the Nye County Sheriff's Office is trying to figure out who vandalized the offices of Living Free Health here in Pahrump. Founder and CEO Shelly Pererio tells News 25 how she found out about all the damage and where they go from here.
We had staff show up yesterday for work at about 10 minutes to 7, and she called me immediately and said, "You need to get down here. All our windows are broken." So I came down here about a few minutes after 7 o'clock and saw windows broken out, saw glass everywhere, saw glass even inside into the room where we have the kids, you know, for groups and that sort of thing. So it's obviously extremely disappointing. Don't know who did it, don't know why someone would do it. Nothing was taken, and it probably could have easily been taken because they had broken through one window through both of the thick panes of glass. So it's not clear to me. It seems more personal, quite frankly. It seems like an act of rage maybe, or anger. They did leave a rock on the door handle for us. So I'm not sure what that means, but again, at least staff and some of our clients feel like that's sort of a personal statement for whatever reason, but we're not really sure who or why anyone would do that. Horizon Markets has been great. They're going through all the camera footage, so we're hoping that that we can see who did it. I think they have nailed down a time right now. They can hear the glass breaking at 8:01 p.m. on Saturday night. So we're making progress on that front, and hopefully the police will catch the person, and I will be happy to prosecute them to the fullest extent of law. We didn't have our own cameras, and we haven't installed cameras because honestly, people have advised me to do it, and I said I feel like it's kind of a privacy issue. For people coming to addiction mental health, are they going to be dissuaded from walking in if they see a camera? So it's a tough call on that, you know, but now we've suffered 2 incidences of property damage. One was a theft of license plates about 5 months ago. But this is a lot more serious. It could have left us at risk to lose a lot of property, if not by the perpetrator. But I also see it as it's going to be a pretty big expense. The Pahrump Valley Glass is great. They came out right away, and they're working on getting us a quote, but it feels like it's going to be really expensive. So that's not good. And that just takes away from money that we have for the community, like our youth team program and stuff like that. So, yeah, not cool.
Hopefully that culprit or those culprits will be caught. And folks concerned about our environment came out Saturday to celebrate Earth Day and Arbor Day at the annual event here in Pahrump. Local organizer John Pollock says this year's celebration was a huge success.
This is Earth Day, Arbor Day over at Ian Deutsch Memorial Park, and it's a wonderful day. It's a little windy, but it's always windy in Pahrump. But we had a magnificent rush of people just prior to 10 o'clock. So I think we have about half our 200 bags are done already before 11 o'clock. We're giving away free Mondale pine seeds with instructions how to plant them. And not to be on a down note, but Richard Cantino passed away just the other day. He was the half of the thing that was for Arbor Day. So if you would, if you say prayers, please say a prayer for him. He was so much part of the Discovery Park and also the Arbor Day part of this also.
And also Audubon Society, very important.
Oh my goodness, yeah. He and his wife Carol are just great proponents of the birds and things like that. So,
what's kind of your wish and hope for people on this Earth Day, Arbor Day? What's something that you really want them to take away from this?
Well, there's we've put in a fact sheet, two-sided fact sheet with 13 items to save you money electrically at home. Actually, we put in a power strip also that you're able to shut off power so you don't lose the ghost voltages. And there's a lot of tips to save you a little money here and there. And there's a drought. We've been in a drought for almost 20 years. There's water saving tips in there too, so we're able to pass that on to you.
And congratulations to Heather Freeman, who works as the Master Gardener Coordinator at the University of Nevada Extension Office right here in Pahrump. Freeman is the recipient of this year's Environmental Person of the Year Award. And stay tuned, News 25 will be back with much more.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. Well, according to the CDC, about 1 in 54 U.S. children is diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. As Autism Awareness Month comes to a close, we're introducing you to an inspiring teenager who's thriving after overcoming the challenges of autism and 2 organ transplants. Erica Foreman has more on his journey.
16-year-old Paul Witzigruder takes autism one step at a time.
Paul is spunky, he's funny, he has a lot of energy, just in general, good-natured.
Paul was diagnosed with a moderate form of autism when he was 2. Soon after, his parents enrolled him in an autism school at Cleveland Clinic.
He started as a little boy who couldn't communicate, was easily frustrated and having tantrums, didn't know how to play with any toys, didn't know how to use objects functionally.
He was nonverbal, so they taught him, they taught him to eat, then his name. You call his name and he'd actually look at you.
Research shows young children with autism benefit from early intervention. Over the years, Paul has developed adaptive skills and learned how to communicate and socialize.
You did great. We still think he has a lot of room for growth, but the things we're working on now are so different. Independent living and maybe he can have a job where he attends for 2 hours at a time.
That's where the family business comes in, a granola company inspired by Paul's dietary challenges.
He does a variety of things. He uses the Best Buy date gun. Recently, he's been filling some of the bags, which is a big deal because he has to have gloves on. He has to use a scale.
When you step back and realize how much effort it takes for him to learn something, it's unbelievable.
Paul has also overcome 2 organ transplants, a kidney and a liver. But you'd never know the adversity he's faced by his happy, helpful demeanor.
I mean, it really is kind of sweet and simple and pure. He has come a long way, and it's still like he's smiling all the time. He's totally in the present. I mean, we should all live this way.
At Cleveland Clinic, I'm Erica Foreman.
Yes, what an inspiring young man, full of joy. And speaking of joy, for this Monday edition of Save a Pet, we're meeting another cat available for adoption from Desert Haven Animal Society, and his name is Stitch.
Today's Save a Pet is proudly sponsored by Jason Ernest with Mountain West Lawyers. Call 775-727-9500.
Stitch is a domestic medium hair cat who's mostly black with some white coloring mixed in on his legs and chest. Stitch is a year old and has been neutered. He came in as a stray and had an injury to his neck, but that's healing nicely and he's ready to go. If you'd like to meet Stitch, we encourage you to visit the shelter and spend some time with him. Who knows, maybe you're the perfect match for this lovable feline. To meet Stitch or any of the other animals available for adoption at Desert Haven Animal Society, you can give them a call to make an appointment at 775-751-7020. The shelter is located on Ceres Lane right behind the Nye County Courthouse. You can also visit them on Facebook at Desert Haven Animal Society.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Cloudy skies around Pahrump as those fluffy cumulus-nimbulus clouds hang around. More in our forecast after this break.
Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
And John Kohler is also off, so here's your weather from the desk from around the Silver State. And it's a chilly day in Las Vegas with a high of only 70. Overnight lows dropping down to the low 50s. In Death Valley, the high is 79 with a low of 58. Amargosa's high 67 with a low of 46. And Beatty tops out at only 63, then drops 20 degrees to 43 overnight. Then Goldfield, Tonopah, Carson City, Fallon, and Fernley will top out in the low 50s with overnights around 30s and high 20s. So it's still chilly for April this time of year. And it's currently 65 degrees and partly cloudy. Winds are coming out of the south-southwest at 10 miles per hour. Humidity is high at 30%. Sunrise was at 5:56 a.m. And tonight will be mostly clear with a low of 42 with winds out of the east-southeast at 13 miles an hour. Humidity drops to 13% overnight and sunset is at 7:27 p.m. Looking ahead to our 7-day forecast, the sun comes back out tomorrow with a high of 83 and a low of 55. For the rest of the weekend, we're going to have a high in the upper 80s to mid 90s, and we'll have a low of around the low 60s to mid 60s, but those temperatures drop back down at the beginning of next week, a high of only around the mid 80s starting Sunday and Monday. But tomorrow we'll still have some of those clouds hanging around for a bit, so you may or may not need to grab that umbrella as we'll top out at only 67 with a low of 49. Well, that does it for this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry. And from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you again next newscast. Good night.